Hello again, friends. So, as I have been exploring Cinderellas from around the world, my favorite tag brought up the Irish Cinderella, and it sounded awesome. So even though it wasn't a request, it is now. Also, my dear friends, my favorite tag has their own YouTube channel. So if you have time, maybe show them some love. Now this story is a long one, and I've been trying to keep my videos to around 10 minutes. So we're going to cut this in half. Join me this week for the first part of Fair, Brown, and Trembling. King lived in Tyrconnell, and he had 3 daughters whose names were Fair, Brown, and Trembling. Fair and Brown had new dresses and went to church every Sunday. Trembling was kept at home to do the cooking and work. They would not let her go out of the house at all, for she was more beautiful than the other 2, and they were in dread she might marry before themselves. Well, gosh, we can't have that now, can we? I wish I could roll my eyes. They carried on in this way for 7 years. At the end of 7 years, the son of the king of Moanna, the ancient Emania in Ulster, fell in love with the eldest sister. I guess their evil plan worked. One Sunday morning, after the other 2 had gone to church, the old henwife came into the kitchen to Trembling and said, "It's at church you ought to be this day, instead of working here at home." "How could I go?" said Trembling. "I have no clothes good enough to wear at church, and if my sisters were to see me there, they'd kill me for going out of the house." "I have a theory. My theory is that aliens keep abducting all these parents in fairy tales. I think it's the only explanation." "I'll give you," said the henwife, "a finer dress than either of them has ever seen. And now tell me, what dress will you have?" So how did the henwife get a nice dress? "I'll have," said Trembling, "a dress as white as snow and green shoes for my feet." Well, that's a choice. Then the henwife put on the cloak of darkness, clipped a piece from the old clothes the young woman had on, and asked for the whitest robe in the world, and the most beautiful that could be found, and a pair of green shoes. How long has this woman had a cloak of darkness? Did Trembling already know about the cloak of darkness? Are we the only ones just learning about this right now? That moment, she had the robe and the shoes, and she brought them to Trembling, who put them on. When Trembling was dressed and ready, the henwife said, "I have a honey bird here to sit on your right shoulder, and a honey finger to put on your left. At the door stands a milk-white mare with a golden saddle for you to sit on, and a golden bridle to hold in your hand." I wonder what some of those things are. I mean, what is a honey finger? I'll look it up. Do not look that up on Google! Do not look that up on Google! Moving on. Nothing to see here. Trembling sat on the golden saddle, and when she was all ready to start, the henwife said, "You must not go inside the door of the church, and the minute the people rise up at the end of Mass, do you make off, and ride home as fast as the mare will carry you." When Trembling came to the door of the church, there was no one inside who could get a glimpse of her, but was striving to know who she was. And when they saw her hurrying away at the end of Mass, they ran out to overtake her. But no use in their running. She was away before any man could come near her. From the minute she left the church till she got home, she overtook the wind before her and outstripped the wind behind. Wow, that's fast. She came down at the door went in and found the headwife had dinner ready. She put off the white robes and had on her old dress in a twinkling. When the two sisters came home, the henwife asked, "Have you any news for today from the church?" "We have great news," they said. "We saw a wonderful, grand lady at the church door. The like of the robe she had we have never seen on a woman before. It's little that was thought of our dresses beside what she had on. And there wasn't a man at the church, from the king to the beggar, who was trying to look at her and know who she was." Well, that must have been a really boring sermon.
Apply for consolation in distress. There are many conveniences which others can supply and which we cannot procure for ourselves. I have now principally in view those objects which are only to be obtained through intercourse.
The sisters would give no peace till they had 2 dresses like the robes of the strange lady. But honey birds and honey fingers were not to be found. Next Sunday the 2 sisters went to the church again and left the youngest at home to cook the dinner. After they had gone, the henwife came in and asked, "Will you go to church today?" "I would go," said Trembling, "if I could get the going." "What robe will you wear?" asked the henwife. "The finest black satin that can be found, and red shoes for my feet." "What color do you want the mare to be?" "I want her to be so black and so glossy that I can see myself in her body." The henwife put on the cloak of darkness and asked for the robes and the mare. That moment she had them. When Trembling was dressed, the henwife put the honey bird on her right shoulder and the honey finger on her left. The saddle on the mare was silver, and so was the bridle. When Trembling sat in the saddle and was going away, the henwife ordered her strictly not to go inside the door of the church, but to rush away as soon as the people rose at the end of Mass, and hurry home on the mare before any man could stop her. I wonder if women are allowed to stop her. At Sunday, the people were more astonished than ever, and gazed at her more than the first time, and all they were thinking of was to know who she was. But they had no chance, for the moment the people rose at the end of Mass, she slipped away from the church and was in the silver saddle, and home before a man could stop her or talk to her. The henwife had the dinner ready. Trembling took off her satin robe, and she had her old clothes before her sisters got home. "What news have you today?" asked the henwife of the sisters when they came from the church. "Oh, we saw the grand strange lady again, and it's little that any man could think of our dresses after looking at the robes of satin that she had on, and all the church, from high to low, had their mouths open, gazing at her, and no man was looking at us." Because, of course, that's the part you care about.
Why would a fella want a girl like her, so obviously unusual? Why can't a fellow ever once prefer a usual girl like me?
The 2 sisters gave neither rest nor peace till they got dresses as nearly like the strange lady's robes as they could find. Of course they were not so good, for the like of those robes could not be found in Erin, or I bet anywhere in the mortal world. When the 3rd Sunday came, Fair and Brown went to the church dressed in black satin. They left Trembling at home to work in the kitchen, and told her to be sure and have dinner ready when they came back. After they had gone and were out of sight, the henwife came to the kitchen and said, "Well, my dear, are you for church today?" "I would if I had a new dress to wear." "I'll get you any dress you ask for." "What dress would you like?" asked the henwife. "A dress red as a rose from the waist down, and white as snow from the waist up, a cape of green on my shoulders, and a hat on my head with a red, a white, and a green feather in it, and shoes for my feet with the toes red, the middle white, and the backs and heels green." Is it just me, or is Trembling slowly becoming a runway model? The henwife put on the cloak of darkness, wished for all these things, and had them. When Trembling was dressed, the henwife put the honey bird on her right shoulder and the honey finger on her left, and placing the hat on her head, clipped a few hairs from one lock and a few from another with her scissors. And that moment, the most beautiful golden hair was flowing down over the girl's shoulders. Then the henwife asked what kind of mare she would ride. She said, white, with blue and gold-colored diamond-shaped spots all over her body. On her back, a saddle of gold, and on her head, a golden bridle. Okay, now she's just messing with us. The mare stood there before the door, and a bird sitting between her ears. What? Which began to sing as soon as Trembling was in the saddle, and never stopped till she came home from the church. The fame of the beautiful strange lady had gone out through the world, and all the princes and great men that were in it came to church that Sunday, each one hoping that it was himself that would have her home with him after Mass. First, that church must have been packed, and second, no wonder the henwife has Trembling run as soon as the sermon is over. Sheesh! The son of the king of Moanna forgot all about the eldest sister, and remained outside the church so as to catch the strange lady before she could hurry away. Nope, don't like him. The church was more crowded than ever before, and there were 3 times as many outside. There was such a throng before the church that Trembling could only come inside the gate. As soon as the people were rising at the end of Mass, the lady slipped out through the gate, was in the golden saddle in an instant, and sweeping away ahead of the wind. But if she was, the Prince of Moanna was at her side, and seizing her by the foot, he ran with the mare for 30 perches, and never let go of the beautiful lady till the shoe was pulled from her foot, and he was left behind with it in his hand. Nope, really don't like him. And this is where we'll stop for today. Join us next week to see if Trembling will get her shoe back, and how Fair feels about being thrown aside by Prince What's Personal Space. We come to the point where I ask you for your help. Please like my video, because I need validation. And comment, because I really love to hear from you. And please tell a friend about us. And if your friend seems interested, maybe you can share the video with them. If you want, and if you haven't already, there's a notification bell so you can know when I put out my videos on Sunday. I would like to thank Pixabay.com for all the wonderful things to help make my channel what it is. I would like to encourage all my friends to join my Patreon page. And if you are unable or disinclined to make a monetary subscription, fear not, there's a free member open, and I am doing my best to post information and fun polls to all my friends, moral supporters included. I also have Facebook and Instagram, if you want. But more than anything, I would like to thank you, my dear friends, for once again spending this time with me. I cannot thank you enough. And now, a special thank you for my Patreon friends.